Hey guys, let's see if this works this time. I can only hope. Uh, dun, dun, dun. All right. Yeah, have to remember I'm fucking live right now. Trying to fix all this up, make it work. There's only one of you, so good. We had an issue. There was no camera on the last one. So for some stupid reason, infinitely stupid reason. So now I got to fix it and hope that this works. Yay, I figured out the tech. Good for me. And it's public. Oh, all right. Good, 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 good. Yeah. Look at everybody showing up. Oh, shit. Maybe I should do this every time. Rebecca, there you go. Okay. Yay, I turned the lights on. All right, let's see who's all here. Steph Wilson actually messaged me, said that was turning into your best show. That was probably my best show because I wasn't there. I did figure out my tech. The video is working. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, Steph liked it better before. My backdrop was better before, huh? Hey, Valerie, what's going on? So glad to have you here. Clinton Farley, so excited to see you, man. I was talking about this earlier. Turn the camera back off. Yeah, right. Very smart. Dan, what's going on, man? Good to see you, buddy. Videos of you doing wheelies in your wheelchair for the con. Maybe, but my problem is I'm going to need the arm strength. I'm not a little guy, so I don't know if I can do that. I don't have one of the cool ones. But yeah, I will be at Houston's Comic Palooza this weekend. Thomas Bishop, hey man, how are you doing? Good to see you, bud. I'm going to be at Comic Palooza in Houston this weekend. I would love for you guys to drop by. Looks like some. Thanks, Steph. You're a keeper, buddy. If you guys drop by, I've said this time and time again, but I'm gonna throw it on here too because I know that a lot of people do find me through the show. If you have anything that I've ever worked on before, editing, whatever, and you come by my booth at Comic Palooza and you bring that by for signing, I will have some free gifts for you. We have so much cool Belial swag and some buttons and stuff that a friend made and all sorts of great stuff. So if you guys come by, I will take care of you. We're gonna have tons of great stuff. Oh man, and my guest is here, which worked out perfectly that he was a little late because I apparently don't even know how to use fucking camera. So why don't we just turn this shit show into some fun and just make it happen? We're gonna go straight into it. I won't even get a chance to talk to him. It's gonna be fun. So much fun. Let's do it, guys.
Canadian bacon is actually really good, and it's nothing like normal bacon, and it's better than ham, which you guys seem to call Canadian bacon. I'm very good at writing. I write very well. Yeah, it's Shop Talk.
Do some of your audience members like the word fuck? Cool. Then I'm going to keep saying fuck because I care.
What is going on, buddy?
You can never trust a Florida man to be on time. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, you know what though? And I want everyone to know that it's actually not technically his fault. I told him 10 o'clock. And he thought, oh, 10 o'clock your time. I have never met a fucking Easterner who actually does the math at all. So I always have to tell them, no, your time, like, so yeah, not your fault at all, actually. Funny enough, you're the one guy who actually was like, oh, yeah, he's an hour behind, so okay. Yeah. 11 my time. Yeah.
The next time you trust me to do it right, I'll do it wrong. So just know that that's what we have.
Well, so it's so serendipitous that today is the day that you show up because 2 years ago, you and I were in Comic Palooza together.
Oh, is this the anniversary?
And well, no, but this weekend is Comic Palooza, and that's where I'm heading.
Oh, beautiful. I hope it doesn't rain like it rained then, man. Bring your galoshes.
Dude, that baseball game was amazing, and then we basically swam home.
I mean, I don't know what the people We went to see the Astros. Great game. They won in the ninth inning, double play, like a throwout at home. It was great. But at 7th through the ninth inning, it's really raining hard. And we looked up, and it is raining into a baseball stadium. It is a covered baseball stadium, and the water is coming in like there's no roof. I was like, oh my. And we get outside, and it's a hurricane. I've been in hurricanes. Oh. This was, without the wind, this was hurricane torrential storm. And Chuck and I make the terrible decision to try to run through it instead of waiting.
Well, and I think at one point I was like, why are we running? We're not getting any wetter. It's true. And you were like full, like, former college athlete. You were jumping over these puddles, and I was like, there's no fucking point. Like, and at one point I actually stepped and I went up to almost my knee. And I was like, oh shit. Oh, that's why he's jumping. Like, it's not just to protect socks that are already soaked. It's because that's fucking deep.
You got to get the whole foot out if you're going to do anything. Well, to set the stage a little better, we had gotten a what's the place? I'm where you get the Airbnb. We had gotten an Airbnb, but you don't get a key to this one. You get a code, and I had forgotten the code. But it was in my phone, but I'd forgotten my charger, and my phone was down to 3% battery as we were running through the storm, and I couldn't find where the email with the code was as we were running through the storm. And I was going, it was like, I think we started at 8%, 7. And all I could think of is, we are going to have to stand outside in this storm for 12 hours. Because I have no idea how to get in this fucking apartment. It was great, man.
Oh, it was, dude, such an adventure. I remember that weekend was so good. Oh, dude, I remember we stayed up late. We had some beers, and you taught me how to play fake poker.
Okay.
And that was an awful lot of fun because I'd never done that before. I am a poker player, which you gladly razzed me about.
Yeah. I used to deal blackjack, and dealing blackjack and then meeting poker players is Douglas, the third amigo. Yeah. You, as a blackjack dealer, let me put it this way: you do not want a poker player to walk up to your table, because you're just gonna be annoyed until you can take all their money and make them go back to that poker table where they belong, with the lizards and the snails and the other fungus.
Shawnee is here. She's happy to see both of us. Well, you first, then me. So I'm good with that. That's how it should go. Guest is always first. Clinton Farley was there. He remembers it. Yeah, man. It was, that weekend was nuts. And it's so much fun. But holy shit, did it rain. And mostly, though, that first night. It actually ended up not being too bad after that. But it was like, oh, you guys have a lot of stuff to move? Yeah, we're going to fuck you up.
My Lyft drivers kept talking about the rain coming in. I'm like, I don't understand what these people are like worried about.
It was beautiful that day.
And then it rained and everything flooded everywhere. And I was like, oh, okay. I think I'm just going to listen to Houston people when they worry about rain, because they know better than me. It was biblical. It was a biblical rainstorm.
Okay. It was just plain stupid. Yeah. Now, okay, so we've already jumped in. We're already in here. We haven't even talked about who you are. So
who cares?
I know, right? Well, but I have to pretend to. Like, I have to put on the airs. So why don't you tell everybody who you are?
Okay, I'm Kevin Joseph. I am Stan Konopka and Sean Lingley's friend. I wore their shirt to represent. That's from The Rejected from Source Point Press. I need to get my Stan love out there. I figure that'll get me accepted. I write comic book Tart. Time-traveling demon adventure. Girl wakes up at the beginning of adventure without any idea where she is or when in time she is, but she knows there's a demon causing trouble, and it's up to her to stop it.
There you go. And what a dude! By the way, I mean, I've said it to your face before, but I love that book so much. Just absolutely amazing. Today, guys, it came onto Kickstarter in a storm. You're already over 200 backers, and you're funded.
200?
Yeah, 200, and you've funded.
I didn't know we had hit 200. That's a really, in like 12 hours, that's really,
Yeah.
even if you don't fund, but you get 200 backers, that's something to be
Oh,
really
right.
appreciative about. That's neat.
Yeah. So congratulations, man. What are you
Thank
at
you.
right now?
201.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's
That's
it's been great. I mean, I say before every Kickstarter, we are going to we're going to succeed, and it's not a lie. It's not hyperbole. I just know that the readers that we have already are gonna grab us and just pull us. And today it was like exploding us over the finish line because our supporters, like Shawnee, are some of the best, just passionate. I mean, they when it's dark and it's hard, I think about the people that read the book, and I open up my notebook and I write because they need to hear the end of the story.
I mean, issue 13. How does that feel to be able to say that?
Issue 13 of about 25, so over halfway.
I mean, okay, but when you thought up I'm probably going to aim for about 25, did that seem as plausible as it does now?
Yes, because I was a friggin' moron.
That's a fair statement.
I had no idea how difficult making one issue of a comic was. So it seemed super easy to do
25.
40 issues. Sure. Yeah, we'll just do that. 40 issues. We've been do about, I mean, we probably can't do 12 issues a year. We'll do about 10 issues a year. We'll do our 4 years. We'll be done. I mean, I was so dumb, so naive, and thank God, because if I had known, who knows if I would have started it. But now I have people like Shawnee who I have to finish it for.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, it's great. It's a wonderful thing.
What? So let's go into that a little bit. First off, I know that it came from Ludovic Saleh had the character of Hell Strawberry.
Correct.
And so you just kind of took that and blew that world up and instead kind of created your own character that you could use as the focus.
Mm-hmm.
What? First off, when you start, and I know you said you were naive and stuff, but now that you can look back, the idea of a book called Tart, how well do you think that was going to be able to sell?
I did not even realize how harsh the connotation of tart is in England.
Yeah.
So over here, I was thinking Pop Tart, like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera. Just she's cute, she's flirty, she's sexy. It's fine. I met some British people and I said, "Hey, I'm doing a comic book and it's called Tart." And when you say tart to a British person, they go, and I'm like, I mean, it to them that's a dirty whore. And
that's like when they say the C word to us.
Correct.
And we go,
yeah.
Right. Don't do that.
No, you're exactly right. It's the difference. If a British person named their comic that's the way Americans would. So yeah, no, I mean, and unbeknownst to me, there was a comic book Tart in the past, which is extremely adult in nature. And I will let anybody who chooses to go find images on their own do it. Just check laws in your own state before you Google it. It's okay. I mean, everybody gets to read and enjoy. If they are of an adult age, you can read and enjoy whatever you want. It wasn't for me when I saw the couple pages. So,
have you had anyone accidentally find that one and go, "What the fuck are you writing?"
No, the opposite. I called up a comic shop in San Francisco, and if I could pull up the name, I would, to give them a little publicity. And it was a lady who's been running a comic shop since the 80s. Like, she knows. So I said, "Yeah, I've got this comic. It's coming up from Scout Comics. It's called Tart." And I hear her go, and I went, "No, it doesn't mean that thing." And she goes, "There was another Tart, right?" And I said, yeah, I did. I didn't realize that when I named it. And she goes, yeah, I'm in San Francisco. I'm open. I mean, people do what they want to do. Even I couldn't put that in the shop anymore.
Wow. See, now I want to be that. And now I'm like, shit, I almost have to check it out. Like,
I'm doing a better job selling that comic than my own, aren't I?
well,
Just
I mean,
two
does
for
it have
one.
200 backers in 12 hours?
Buy our tart, buy their tart.
Right. John Westhoff said, I still remember Jason Ford talking about issue 1.
Oh, man. Jason's the best. How are you, John?
And Shawnee says, chop, chop. She wants the 25 done. I'm with her, but I'm not chopping.
14. Ludo's drawing 14 as we speak. Well, he's probably asleep right now as we speak, but he's going to wake up tomorrow. An Old West adventure, Shawnee.
So how do you find a dude like Ludo? Because his art, and I mean, not to take away from your writing, which I absolutely love, but his art is fucking gorgeous. It always takes me back to like Milo Manera without being necessarily over-sexualized and whatnot, but it has that soft touch to it.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful. How do you find him?
Just luck. I mean, I would if I could bottle that and sell it to comic book writers, I would, and I wouldn't have to have a day job. Just but it was such happenstance. I love how the story starts. I met a girl on my honeymoon. We were at a Neil Gaiman signing. My wife and I, we'd been married about 5 days at this point. We went to England, and it just so happened up he was doing a Forbidden Planet signing in London when we were there for the week. And I asked her, "Can we go?" And she said, "Sure." So I was, all right, cool. So we went. We're standing in line. We're one of like the first 10 people. So you're there for hours, and everybody's talking, and everybody's nice and charming and interesting, and they're telling us where to go after. We should go to this pub, or we should go to this nice dinner, or Nobu is in this part of town, So we're having a blast, and two of the women were artists. One's a costumer for like film and TV, and the other's an illustrator. And I just stayed as a pen pal with them, Facebook, email, etc. And a year or 2 years later, one of them met Ludo at a convention, talked to him, saw what he was doing, and he had said that he had this adventure he wanted to do, but he had written himself into a corner, and he didn't know what he was going to do with the characters anymore. And she sent me an email, and that's it. Like you can't. He's in France. I'm in America. He and I never met until we had done 4 issues of Tart. So,
wow.
If you don't believe in God, fate, or destiny, you're wrong about one of the 3.
Yeah.
I don't know which, and if I wish I knew which, but this is the most pure luck situation you could ever come up with.
Well, and what had you even done as a writer up to that point?
I had written a couple screenplays with my buddies, a couple short stories.
So it's not even that you had done other. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Thomas, I don't know where this Chuck's van thing is coming from, but I'm glad you believe in it. I have an SUV, but thank you for that.
I know Chuck, and I believe in not getting in Chuck's van. That's what I believe in.
I think that's a fair statement. I think that's a very fair statement. And I drove you around. We drove around a little bit in Houston. We got
That's
to
true.
go
That's true.
Yeah, we got to go hang out with Ming Chen and at his bar. That was dude. That was so awesome.
Yeah, that was fun.
Such a great weekend. Yeah, such a good weekend, man. So yeah, let's go into, because there's so much to unpack with you. I mean, we've already unpacked the fact that you're lucky as all fuck, or there's some shining star that's saying this thing needs to happen.
And I'm still lucky in that. Even in that vein, I'm still lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Shawnee believes in my pink headset. Thank you. I believe in my pink headset too. It's why I keep wearing it, because I'm out here and I'm unashamed.
It brings out
Um,
the blush of your cheeks. I love it.
yeah, right. I got to shave this so it really just
Yeah.
shines, just shines. Um, so yeah. There's a lot to unpackage with you because you came out with Tart. You also have a great kids book, The Poodles of
Potter's Peak.
Potter's Peak. What a
Yes.
fun! I got to read that at Comic Palooza. What a fun title! Is there any plans of doing anything else with that, or say trying to sell that to like a Scoot or something like that?
When it comes to it, that's a little bit young for Scoot. Scoot likes 8 to 12,
Okay.
and that's a good 4 to 6. Maybe even 2 to 6. So it's a little young for Scoot, and I don't know. Jessie Sharon is so busy writing and drawing her own books. I would prefer if she were able to draw it, and she's just too busy right now. If we ever did another, so
Yeah.
for right now. In comics, my complete priority is writing Tart for Shawnee. She said chop chop, and I listened.
Yeah. No, good call, man. Smart. Uh, Chuck stole that headset from a girl at the skate park. There's no evidence of that. So unless you can prove it with photos and video and whatnot, then I'm gonna keep saying no, just like I did to that jury. Um, uh, yeah, like wow, dude. Well, and then you also got to do Morte with the amazing David Bishop.
Yes.
From my hometown. He's in just outside of Toronto,
Okay.
and that piece is beautiful. Like, you guys did such a great job, guys. If you're able to check that out through SourcePoint, it's completely dialogue free.
Yeah.
And
And I have to say that when you say you guys, it is dialogue and narration free. So really, again, David really like just the way that he captured what I hoped we were going for.
yeah,
I can't express enough that I had an idea of how it might look, it might work, etc. But the guy woke up. He's going to college. He's getting another degree. He wakes up at 4 a.m. in the morning. He draws a panel of the comic, and he goes to school every day for a year, and he draws our comic. I mean, who finds people like that in the world? So when I say I'm lucky, like I've worked with Ludovic, I've worked with David, I've worked with Jet. Like these people make me look good, and yeah, I'll pretend I am. That's fine, as long as I have artists that make me look good. I'm a great writer.
you also got to work with Carl Moline for
Yeah.
one issue of Tart, which was huge, and boy, is his work just gorgeous.
He did such a good job matching kind of how Ludo lays out a book, but still drawing the characters in his own style. That was what was so fun for me.
So, well, okay. So Shawnee says, not afraid to admit, Morte made me cry up a bit. Yeah, tear up a bit. Same here. It was so beautifully told. So, in writing that script, because of course, like, yeah, the art in that does do the heavy lifting, but how tight is your script when you're writing something like that? Are you doing panel breakdowns, or was something like that more of a Marvel style? What are we looking at?
It was definitely a full script.
Good.
It would be 7 panels. Panel 1, this. Panel 2, this. Panel 3, this could happen or that could happen. Panel 4, this. Panel 5, that. So it was for the story to reach the audience without narration or dialogue. I really did feel I needed to lay out each page as what needed to happen in the order with which it happened. What David did is he took the script and very, very honestly and with a writer's mind adapted it to the way an artist would. So many of the pages are very similar to the layout that I wrote, and many of the pages are a much better interpretation of what needed to be on the page based on David, who's a great writer in his own right, taking the idea and taking personal responsibility of the story and telling the story. Now, you had said it's completely silent. That's almost true. There is one word in the script. David wrote it. David wrote the word. There was a moment in the script that I wanted, that to me felt very important for the piece to work. This moment had to work. And I had written, at this time I decided, oh, it's a silent book, we'll make it silent. So I said, blank could happen, blank could happen, blank could happen, blank could happen. What do you think would really hit? And I also told him why those 4 things could happen, because what I wanted to convey. And he just wrote me back. He said, I think this is where he talks. I think he says one word, and I think I know what the word is. And he told me it. So I wrote a comic, and the only word in it, the artist wrote.
See, you're just filled with these great stories. That's so amazing. What's up, Mike? How's it going, man? So glad you tuned in, dude. Yeah, wow. Just the fact that you wrote a dialogue-free story and the only dialogue in there was not written by you.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant. Oh,
And
I love that.
DC Hopkins does all my lettering for every book I do. And it was funny. He wrote me, he's like, hey, I know you're doing this, because he had heard about Source Point Press and picked us up. He's like, hey, I heard you're doing this book for Source Point. You know, I'm here if you need me. I was like, I don't think we're going to need you on this one. And I told him why. And he's just sent me back an email with like, ha, 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 ha. Okay.
So was that then, rather than picking up a letterer, Dave was just like, I got this. I can do this.
David took full ownership of the lettering of that book. Yes.
I think
we did have
he did
a
it
joke.
for the credit.
Yes, we had a joke that his credit should be letter by, because it is only one word and it's a one-word letter. David's just I cannot wait to meet him in person, because we've only talked or emailed. I cannot wait to meet him at a show, because he's just a great person. Yeah.
No, he and I have talked a couple times. Really good dude. Very excited to meet him. His Of Stone is absolutely brilliant. Love that. Supposedly he's going to try to get back to work on that, because I know that he had some stuff going on, but love to see that happen.
Of Stone is why I reached out to him. I read the first issue, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I think Ganon is the lead character's name. It's something very similar like that, or Gan. He's an ugly character who throughout the issue becomes beautiful. And I needed an artist who could take a very, very ugly situation and find the beauty in it. And that's why I reached out to David. If he had said no, I had one other artist that I thought maybe could do it. And thankfully he didn't, because David did a beautiful job. Yeah. If those 2 artists said no, I had no idea what I was going to do.
You were just like, this one might get shelved for now.
I did specifically buy a certain type in honor of the Canadian who is hosting me.
Oh, I love that.
I did open it for David too. So
good. Cheers. Oh man, I'm gonna have a swig of my water at that. Good for you. That's amazing. Good for you. Water or American beer, whatever you guys want to call it. Same thing. Dude, that's brilliant. So let's get into then, because there's a couple things I want to talk about with you. But one, what made you decide to go with Source Point on that one? Was that you just kind of threw it out there and they were the ones who jumped on it, or?
Well, my first email to David said, hey, are you at all? I saw you. I heard you on this podcast. You seem like a cool guy. If you have any interest in doing a book, I've got this idea. Here are 9 reasons you should say no. One of the reasons was this book is completely unmarketable. Another reason was it's a one shot. And another reason is I don't think there's any publisher who will take it. So then I wrote all the reasons I thought he should read the script because of what ended up being more to him. But I wanted him to know, like, it's possible we're going to do this comic for you, me, and like 9 people. But
Yeah.
I couldn't get it out of my head, and I wanted to make it for me, the artist, and 9 people, if that's all that was out there. And after David read the script, he said he couldn't stop thinking about it for like 5 days. And he said, that's when I knew I had to draw it. So we were like, okay, we're going to do this book. And it could be the biggest, commercial failure in the history of the world. We don't care. We have to tell the story because we have it. And then Comics Pros and Cons was a podcast that was running for my buddy Derek Becker, was doing it. And I honestly can't remember how it got to it, but when we were pretty much done with the book, we showed it to him and Jedi Ross of An Elegant Weapon podcast, because I had heard David first on that podcast, and he had heard me before we had become friends. Mm-hmm. So we were like, we'll give them the podcast. And Derek said, can I show this to SourcePoint? It feels like something they'd like. And I was like, yes, because I don't think any publisher will. Turns out they love one shots, because at conventions, it's a good way to get this is it. And they are willing to take a chance on something that doesn't have the marketability on its face that, a high concept pinch would. And so it's just a great place for Morte.
Do you hear about that project at all? Like, do you still get people getting in touch going, holy shit?
And, it obviously it's been a little while since it's been out, and I just purchased the last like 30 copies that SourcePoint had. So technically, here's a Chuck Show exclusive. Technically, Morte is sold out. And we are talking about getting a second printing done now that conventions are starting to get open. I can't promise that's happening. I definitely can't tell you when, much less definitely that it will. But there should be a new edition of Morte with a new cover and out at some point in the future. Because, now that we're sold out, we might as well do another printing and at the worst, get it to people on conventions for ever.
Have you ever considered revisiting and trying to do a second issue, or is it just like, no, I love what we did, and I don't want to ruin that?
David has a really good idea, if we do, of how it could be done. It's definitely not my priority to revisit that, because I do think that if anyone's read it, I do think that we told the story we wanted to tell. It's Morte, if you're new to it, is not a story about surviving the apocalypse. It's how you cope being the only one to survive the apocalypse. So yes, we probably could. And David, if we do it, David has a good idea on how it can be done. It's probably not a high priority to me to revisit it unless there's a real reason to do it.
Okay, so we killed Morte. We went through all that.
Killed and buried Morte.
Right. So let's move on to Tart.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, right. And if you don't, you're not a linguist.
Yes.
So no problem there. Oh, hey. Look, we got some people there. What's up? I am Sam. How you doing? It would be incredibly traumatic. Absolutely. And they really do play out the beauty, the sadness, all of that. Just wonderfully. It's so well done. Check it out. Well, and apparently they have to get in touch with you to get a copy now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead. Yeah. So moving on to Tart, issue 13 is dropping. And you, in this new one, you kind of talk about the new step forward. Is this like another arc? Are we moving into something special? What's going on with this particular issue?
This would be the first issue of technically season 3. So the way Scout releases books, they release them as seasons. Excuse me. Really, excuse me. Canadian beer. What are you doing?
It'll do it. Yeah, it'll get you.
So issues 1 through 7 is season 1, 8 through 12 season 2, issue 13 season 3 part 1. It has Tart in an entirely new job with the toxic fruit. She's doing something a little more on her own, and basically, because it's time travel, we set up that she met some people who knew who she was and she didn't know who they were in issues 5 and 6. And, I hate to spoil stuff, but I think we're going to have to spoil it. They were murderous mermaids who did not like her at all. She has no clue why. And because she had met someone that hated her, they realize she's met them in the mermaid's past and her future. So she's got a get out of jail free card for a long time. She cannot die because she's met these mermaids. Well, issue 13 is where she loses her get out of jail free card because we figure out why the mermaids might not think that Tart Acid is the coolest person in the world with this adventure.
Wow. And I remember reading issue 5 and just being like, ooh, I'm so excited. So I'm glad that, I mean, when you're doing something like some huge long run, maybe another 6 issues isn't huge. But for indie comics, waiting 6 issues to come back to a beat like that is really big. So I want to applaud you just on having the cojones to wait and the patience to go, no, I know when this beat's supposed to happen. It's going to be good when it happens. So good for you. Like that's a big step.
Again, when I did the outline, I did not think it would take long. I thought it'd be very easy and we would be right there. So this is more my naivety than cojones.
So you already knew issue 13? Like, did you have all of your issues outlined ahead of time where everything's going?
Exact issue number, no. Basic order of the series, yes.
Okay.
When we got the idea to do the Truck Lagoon arc, which we call Submerged, it wasn't in our initial outline. I got these beautiful photos of what is supposedly the Earth's most haunted waterway. There was a World War II battle. Hundreds of Japanese and American sailors died down in the water, and scuba divers go down there. You can look up the Ghost Fleet of Truck Lagoon, and there are ghost lights that no one can explain. And there is a demon, they call it demon drumming or phantom drumming. No one knows what the drumming is. They assume it could be oil from the tanks and it could be maybe an engine that's still running 50 years later, but no one knows what haunts Truck Lagoon. So I got sent this email and I was like, this is so cool. This should be a Tart story. So I emailed Ludo and he said, yeah, that's pretty cool. They could just be on vacation. And I thought, well, they wouldn't just go on vacation. We need to have a reason they're there. So I thought of a couple things and I looked at our outline. And one of the stories in their outline was either why did Atlantis sink or can one of our ladies save Atlantis? That's on our outline. So I went, we can put it here. And then we can patch it to this here, and we'll look really smart in a couple years. And it's just because I got a cool email of this really neat thing, and we set it up. So we are never smart, but we do things to make it look like we are.
Your name needs to be Kevin Lucky Fuck Joseph. Holy crap. Like, that's awesome. Josh comes in and says, do you have a trade?
Absolutely. There are like 9 ways you can catch up with it. The cheapest, fastest is you can go to scout.com. I'll write it in before we go. Scout.com/collections/Tart. And you can get the trade paperback of season 1 gets you issues 1 through 7. And then there's a couple one shots that would be chapters 8 and 9 are in Tart Soul Searchers. Chapter 10 is in Tart Toxic Origins, which is in your comic shop either last Wednesday or this Wednesday, depending on your shop. And chapters 11 and 12 go out in September. So you could catch up with Scout Comics, which is great, love it. Or
Yeah.
you can go to our Kickstarter, and there's a way to back for $25, and you get those first 7 chapters that we're talking about, or for $75, because we kickstart now that we print in America and the printing cost is higher and our run is lower. So the books that we print now from 8 to 13 are more like limited variants. So it costs $75 to get our 13 chapters of the comic. You can get them for cheaper at Scout or your local comic shop, or you can get the $25 with us and just buy the one shots at your comic shop. I mean, as long as you're reading it, I am ecstatic.
I think Brian Manell's got your back.
Brian, I think you're perfect. That's exactly where you go.
Solid dude. Yeah, absolutely. So there you go, guys. Brian was good enough to jump on and take care of that for us. Yeah, and I've read. So I mean, I jumped on right around I think 4 or 5, and I've been on every single one of the Kickstarters since then. We read the last ones on our way to Florida, my wife and I, and then I basically collected them since then, and I have not gone back to read them all because I wanted to start again from the beginning. Because the thing, like, you know me, I've reviewed and I've read so many books. I wanted to get the full flavor. I wanted to be able to read. So right now I'm doing, hopefully once things are a little better, I'm going to do kind of cleanup of my comics. And Wendy and I have both said, we have to get all of Tart. And I said, well, 13's going to be on its way pretty soon. And as soon as we get 13, we'll get it all together and we'll read it all the way through. So I am a little behind, but everything I've read, it was pitched to me by Jason Webb, who said, dude, it's one of the best. And yeah, I know he's been a huge fanboy of yours.
Part of the rejected team. I didn't say him earlier, but yes.
Yeah, he's such a good dude, and he just said, "Man, you gotta read this guy's book. You have to review it. You were one of the first ones we did," and I was so glad I did it, and I've been caught up ever since. I have all the books and stuff, so I will definitely be reading that. But yeah, Josh, you're definitely gonna want to do a review of it, and you're gonna become a fan. I really believe it because it really just is that amazing. Why do you think it took Scout so long to jump on that one?
I appreciate that we were jumped on. I'm not worried about it taking too long because we needed to keep making issues for them so that they could, know that they had something to give shots. So I don't have any problem. They could have taken another year and I would have been ecstatic to be part of them.
Well, yeah, and they're absolutely amazing. Love what they do, man. And I've been lucky enough to do a little bit of work with them too. So yeah, they're absolutely amazing pros. So 11 and 12 is coming out in September. Yes. How long until people are going to be able to see 13 in this next run in comic shops? Is that you're gonna have to get caught up and then do that?
Yeah. Or there's definitely going to be a pause between starting the next quote unquote season. There is one person to blame for this, and it is me. I did the best I could during this pandemic. I stayed as sane as I could. I couldn't write the first 8 months of it. I just couldn't write anything new. I couldn't shut my brain off of the here and now to go to another place. Yeah. And so there's no one to blame but me, but I'm writing again, and I am really happy with what's coming out. So I'm going to not punish myself for the break and just say, we all did what we could to survive. And if Tart's a little slower, then that is what it is. But Ludo has been not only ready to draw, so I thank him for that, but really supportive of, he's like, hey, there's a lot of, I think his words were, this is hard for everyone. The words will come when they come. Yeah. And I was like, all right, my partner's cool with this. So I'll, and it was great. It's great.
Yeah. And you know what? I actually mirror that. I think that it's really important to kind of take all of that as seriously as possible. It was really, and it still is to some degree, just an absolute shitstorm
Yeah.
And psychologically, a lot of us just were not ready for what this meant. And I think, you know, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're just worried about yourself." We have families, we have
Yeah.
friends, we have, like, we have this extended family. Like, there's so much to worry about.
Well, my mother has absolute incredible breathing problems, asthma, and cannot smell or taste a thing anyway. So we're like, how's she going to know if she catches it?
Yeah, she has to get the full. She has to get the flu symptoms, like
She'd have
full
to get,
on.
she'd have to get like, she'd have to be on death's door to know she had it. And, so we were very scared. My father had had a heart attack the year before. My brother had a stroke at the beginning of the year, like a mini stroke. Like he's fine. So like all of this predated the pandemic. And I'm like, and now there's this thing. So with that said, I've been very lucky. I've been able to work from home. Kid was able to go to school from home. So I'm lucky, but I was unable to write a great bit of this. I just couldn't do it. And
Yeah.
you know what? That's okay, because I'd rather wait until I could write something good than just have 5 lackluster scripts
Yeah.
for Ludo to try to fix, and everybody go, well, it was good when it was started, but this part sucks.
Yeah, yeah. I like the old issues.
Exactly. I don't want that. I want people to have something. And this book is going to be, it's a little experimental. We tell it from 2 different perspectives. We hear from Tart what she's doing, and then we hear from someone else what she did. And it's a little bit about, she sees herself as a hero. She sees the things that she's doing as heroic, but how might someone else see her actions?
Oh, I love
And Ludo actually changed his art style depending on the narrator. So the left side of the page is always Tart. It's illustrated very normally, and the right side is this other narrator, and it's a very fairy tale type illustration process.
Was there any inspirations that made you want to take it from that that format?
I had written 2 drafts of it that I thought were fine, and I didn't think fine was good enough.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about really what we were trying to say with this one, and I thought it might be more interesting if we heard from a different narrator for the first time, because Tart always narrates her own actions. And then I realized we could probably get more story told in this way, because when you're telling from the other narrator, it's a really kind of a story that's already happened. So we could kind of skip forward in the action a little bit through those pages, whereas everything else is, panel for Tart. So it was a bit of a cheat to get more story in 24 pages, and also just a bit of playing on perspectives and how we see ourselves. We all see ourselves as the hero of our own story, right? Well, that's great, but what if somebody else is telling half of the story?
And I respect that you stuck to the 24 pages, because it's so easy, and I see it so many times where indies will say, well, I'll just add a couple more pages. And you're like, yeah, or you could actually go through the struggle and really try to conform. And I mean, it's not about conforming like you must do 24 pages, but it's the idea of, if you can just tack shit on, then what are you really doing? I think that there's something about that challenge of going, I have this much space. How do I best fill that space, rather than going, oh, I'll just make the space bigger.
I think that it's definite. I think it's great that you have the option to do either. When I sit down, I try to do a 20 to 24 page story.
Mm-hmm.
And Tart 10 is 32 pages, because I was not doing that in 24 pages. That was not happening. Tart 12 is 28 pages.
Yeah.
But I was able to get 11 out in 24 because the story only needed that. So I think if I wanted to write for Marvel or DC, and that was my goal, every issue I wrote would be 22 pages tight.
Yeah.
But my goal is to tell this story the best possible way I can, and that means some issues might be 18 pages, and I might have a full.
Hmm. I'm trying to check to see if it just silenced for him or for me. So if you guys are out there, let me know. Becca, do you have internet? Okay. Trying to see. Oh, there
Ah,
we are.
everything went away.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so it was you that froze up. Yeah. Thank you, Shawnee. She's like, he froze up. I'm like, okay, cool. I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't tell, and so I was like,
It was like everything went black and a little, and I was like, I only had a shot and a beer. Like, what was in the shot? That
yeah.
Canadian
We do
beer is
that.
getting me, man.
A lot of places will call it absinthe beer. Very similar. Yeah.
I go right back to it.
Yeah. Well, cool. Back to the black. Shawnee, when she's talking about your little hiatus, she said it's worth the wait. So you're fine.
Thank
Now
you.
you know it's good. So it doesn't you don't even have to worry about it.
No, I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Everybody has been so cool about it and understanding, and I appreciate it. I want to get great work out as quickly as I can, but it has to stay great work, because if I can't give a great script to Ludo, then it's a waste of his time because he's great. So
Yeah. Doug came in. He said, "How long did it take you to go from initial contact with Scout to signing with them, and who approached whom?"
I mean, I would say it was 6 months to a year of talking back and forth. They were going through a ton of changes. I had been friends with James Hake through a mutual friend, or I should say, I was, not friends, but mutual friend introduced us. And I like Solar Flare a lot. He liked Tart, and he got in with Scout, and he said, "If there's a spot for you, would you be interested?" And I said, "Yeah, man, I'd love to work with a publisher because I just want to write. I don't want to do I like doing Kickstarters. Those are fun. I'm fine with the fulfillment process because I'm getting people the books that they literally made exist. Without them, the book doesn't exist. So I'm cool with doing that, but I don't have the wherewithal to approach 2,000 comic book shops and explain to all of them why this book will sell, etc. So I was like, yeah, I'd love to be with somebody who can do that. And it took as long as it took, and it took longer than I probably wanted it to. But as I said earlier, I'll wait to be part of a cool team.
Yeah. And you're right. It is worth the wait. I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of one of those things where everything will find its home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes that home is with you, and sometimes that home is elsewhere. But you just gotta kind of patience is a big part of our game, especially when you're talking about issues that can take months and sometimes years and all that kind of stuff.
And I
to
knew
get
that I knew that every 3 months that they were deciding, I was getting another comic out with Kickstarter. So then I had another issue in the can for them to play with if they said yes.
Yeah.
And if they said no, I had Kickstarted an issue, made the money, and I could move on. So it kind of felt like I was building something with the possibility that they would say yes and the possibility that they'd say no. But the thing was being built either way.
Yeah. So you've already stated that the aim is 25 issues.
25, 27.
Yeah.
When I get to certain issues, it might be, oh wow, I'm 52 pages into this issue. I might need to find a cliffhanger in the middle.
I totally get that. So in looking at that, do you see as you move forward, is there this existential dread? Like, how do you follow this up? What do I do after this? do I want to then maybe consider, some kind of Tart side project or whatever? Like, is your head even there yet? Or are you just like, no, I have time?
When Tart is over, the toxic universe will exist in a fashion, and I would love to see how another writer, another artist might take the things that we leave behind and play with. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't write in it again, but I would certainly love for finish Tart's story and see what somebody else would play with, in the sandbox that Ludo and I left, see what another art team would do.
Wow.
Is make smaller 3 to 5 issue limited series, finish them and do a different one, and finish that and do a different one. I probably will not do another 25 to 42 issue maxi series. I may have learned my lesson on that.
Unless, of course, you're hired to do that, which is the goal.
Never say never. I said my goal isn't to work for Marvel or Disney, and if it was, I would do blank. I wouldn't say no to paid work either.
No, I totally feel you there. Oh, that's absolutely amazing. So moving forward in the Tart universe, like season 3, what would you say is there a running theme or a feel that we should expect for this season moving forward? I know that it is, we are just starting episode 1 effectively, but what is, give us a tease, really kind of get people excited maybe for that next season.
I envision the entire series of Tart as child, teenager, adult. Issue 12 is the end of childhood. So now we're going through a little bit of Tart's teenage years within the organization. She's spent the first 12 issues trying to be a good girl that everybody likes and do her job as best as she can so that everyone loves her. And she might see some things and do some things that make her wonder about whether or not she's being sent to do the right things, or if she really is the good guy in all of this. So it's all going to be very episodic. Tart 13 is the lost city of Atlantis. Tart 14 is a town in the Old West. So it's not going to be one long arc. It's going to be episode. But I would say that Tart's going to wonder what her place in this world really is and whether she's comfortable with where her place is.
Oh, that's cool. That's a great tease, homie. That's so great. I love it. Shawnee came in. She's still around. You're creating such a rich and complex universe. I think there are ample opportunities for other creators to have some fun with it. That would be really cool if it does happen.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have an idea that maybe some people could do some things that are nice backups, I'll just say that if they do it, it would be called Tales of the Lost Toxics. So we might see the ends of some Toxics stories that we haven't even met, or maybe that we have.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, yeah, you're dealing with time travel, right? So
right.
Oh, that's amazing, Kevin. I love that so much. Is there any other projects or anything else that you have going on, or that you want to talk about, or?
It's all Tart all the time right now.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. So as we start to close down the show, we're pretty much at our hour. We can go longer if you want, but I know that you do have a day job and stuff, so I don't want to take up too much of your life. Conventions.
Mm-hmm.
What are conventions looking like for you right now? Because I know that Florida is kind of opening up, MegaCon's coming and stuff. Is that something that you're ready for? Or are you like, nah, not yet?
Did Florida ever shut down?
I mean, I was just there in May, and it certainly didn't look like it.
I don't know. I'm doing a small one in August, and I'll see what that feels like. I'm vaccinated, ecstatic to be vaccinated. My kid is. I feel great about the fact that I can't go out, catch something, and bring it that she isn't protected against. So I am excited to get back to conventions. No interest to go to any of the biggest ones immediately. I'm not there yet, so I'll have to see. I probably beginning of next year I might start going to slightly bigger ones, but no,
Yeah.
I probably won't be heading up to MegaCon with 50,000 people. I don't know if my psyche is ready for that.
No, I do understand it. And I mean, I know that I'm doing Comic Palooza, but it's only a 2-day thing. Supposedly it's slowed down a lot. I am fully vaccinated. I'll still be wearing my mask. I don't care.
Mhm.
And it's just, I'm not a guy who knows how to dip in. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like I was never the kid who was gonna walk to the shore and put his feet in. I was just gonna dive in and be cold and
Yeah.
or whatever. So
We flew to see my in-laws last week. That's why we couldn't do this last week
yeah,
because I was going to be in Cleveland, and I was okay. I was okay at the airport. There were a lot of people, but I was fine. I didn't feel like too. I mean, the airport's always stressful, but I
yeah,
didn't feel like this oppressive force. So I think I could do okay at a convention, but I'd also like to see how it goes too for some let some people who really want to go and I'll hear from you.
yeah, absolutely. And I think I know that I am that guy who I'm just like, yeah, sorry, I'm gonna do it. I have to. And I'm fine with kind of being the guinea pig there.
I hope you're a guinea pig and not the canary.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah. Well, that's why I had to make sure I was vaxxed first. Absolutely. Um, Brian, okay, so Brian, I'll hold some time for you so you can come up with that question. Brian is
I'm
always
Yeah,
amazing about getting those big
as
ones.
as far as it comes up is if people have questions, I'll hang. So you
Yeah.
guys, whatever you want to ask, if I say can't tell you because that's a spoiler, then we'll do that. But other than that, I'm good for some questions.
No, I'm not gonna be leaving Texas this year. So for me, everything is gonna be Texas right now. Just kind of want to feel out my own state. And a lot of that is first off just financial, but also it's the idea that I don't know what conventions look like yet. I mean, I'm going to Comic Palooza, which is the biggest or second biggest in the state, but I still don't know if people are even going to show up. So I would rather only have to drive 3 hours for a minor failure in my own state than fly to another state and get completely swamped in debt and whatnot. So, it's this one. Then next month I have one in the hometown show about 20 minutes from here. September is going to be Dallas Fan Expo. That's the big one. So we'll do the 4 or 5 hour drive then. Again, not too bad. And then October we're going to run into San Antonio, which is an hour away. And then we'll be doing some little because it's me and Douglas mostly sharing tables and whatnot still. And so we'll probably do some markets and stuff and kind of to finish off the year. So no, but there's been a lot of demand by me and for me to get out of the state and do other stuff. I know that C2E2 next year is looking like a big possibility and some other ones. Right now, just like I said, just kind of feeling this out. So I appreciate you. And I did Orlando. I loved it. And I will do it again. Thomas Bishop says you're asking the wrong question. Florida does its own thing. Texas is no different.
You guys do like the actual shooting and yeehawing. We don't do that, but we have the guns too. We just don't do yeah.
Yeah, you just shoot.
We're quieter.
Right. Brian, okay, here's his question. Do you have any tips or suggestions for others who are also planning to write long story arcs? I don't know if there are things they need to know in order to effectively write something to that scope.
Completely to go on the situation of what I've learned about how hard it is to keep working is, let's say I had 25 issues to tell this story. I would not have outlined a 25 issue series. I would have outlined five issue miniseries that would take my character from here to here to here to here. And the last miniseries would be the finale. So just, you can tell the same long story, but in more bite-sized increments, so that if there is a break of 2 years, nobody cares, because you've already told that limited series got your character from C to D, and your artist breaks his hand. Well, he can take 6 months off and recuperate. So on a business level, I would do that. As far as creativity, it's definitely having an outline so you know where you're shooting, but write your outline in pencil, not pen.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to go where the story is leading you and not be so tight that you don't follow it. Like I said, Submerged shouldn't have been a story in Tart. It just kind of felt better than what we had outlined at the time I was writing it.
Yeah, I say it all the time on the show, and I say it to any clients I work with. It is not canon until it's published.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, with the pencil, you're 100% right. And I'm so glad that you pushed the outline too, because I have to push that on everybody all the time. And because you know what, there's something, I had a comedy teacher teach this to me. I know that you love a lot of like English comedies and whatnot. Did you ever watch the IT Crew or the IT Crowd?
I didn't. We watched one episode of it and we didn't get into it. We got into Toast of London instead.
Oh yeah.
And it was like we watched one episode of IT Crowd, and then we did Stephen Toast, and we were like, Sky High, and I'm like, okay, this is my show for now and forever. And then we didn't go back to the IT Crowd, but I do know that the voice of either Apple or Onion is on it, so I need to go back to it.
Oh, it's such a great show.
Okay.
Absolutely love it. But comedically, I remember there was this one moment where very early in the episode, one of the characters is showing off some music, and he asks his boss, who has nothing, isn't interested in Dungeons and Dragons or anything. He says, "This is for something I'm DMing. What do you think?" And he plays this music, and she goes, "It's mysterious." And he goes, "I was going for Ruddy Mysterious," and it gets a little laugh. And then later on, they're actually doing the D&D session, and he puts that music on, and one of the guys stops and he goes, "Oh, that's Ruddy Mysterious," and just it gets the whole big laugh.
Right.
And that's the thing, guys, is that comedy works in that same way, and comedy kind of shows you that outline, thinking ahead, it makes you look brilliant. Are they really that brilliant? They just laid out a joke, and all they did was go, "I opened this door, go back to it."
Yeah, they waited for the payoff.
Yeah. And it's all about, like, you've been talking this whole time about patience and about taking your time and all that kind of stuff. And that really is what the outlines are about, is opening doors, understanding later on what you're aiming for, so you can open the doors to get there, but also recognizing that you're opening doors along the way that could lead to something brilliant, like, with Submerged. So yeah, man, I think you're dead on. I totally feel you. A lot of times I'll have a guest and I'll be like, I'm not sure I totally feel that, but yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm starting my next beer, so we'll see after that.
There we go. Right, he's going to go ultra
sense.
black. He's going to go ultra black.
Well, this is 1664. This is in honor of Ludo. It's a French beer, so
nice,
really tasty.
Good job, by the way.
I tasted it on my honeymoon in England, and I was like, I like that beer. So yeah, there's a little symbolism to my chat with you.
Nicely done. Omar says, "Chucky, I love damn pink cans. I kept my shirt on the whole time." Okay, yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You all wrestle gators and you have airboats. So yeah, You still have that.
We
At
do.
least.
We do. I don't know why you're bringing these facts into the thing. We do.
I think yeah. I think that's for the whole yeehaw thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Those
Okay.
are. I guess the wrestling gators is
Fair.
your cattle drive, and the airport boats are your horses.
Listen,
I'm not sure.
Listen, Florida man, we get our due and honest ridicule, and I'm cool with it because we deserve it.
Mike, Jimmy, nice to see you, man. Glad to have you here. Oh, see, you got more Toast of London people showing up.
So great.
I actually have had a little bit of a hard time getting into that one, but I don't think I gave it the full attention it deserved.
Did you watch What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show?
Oh,
it has
brilliant.
that. Okay, we went straight from that, so we were into his comedic.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just say presence, because I don't know what it is, because he's like nothing I've ever seen before in my life. He's just amazing.
Well, and if you're trying to watch the IT crowd for him, he doesn't show up until series 2. So you have to get through the first, I think it's like 8 or 9 episodes to finally see him. But he is, holy shit, worth it. Oh my gosh, just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think you sold me on it. Well, I'll get my wife back on it.
So fun. Omar said, I never planned for more than a 6-issue miniseries for the exact same reasons. Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. You're right. And I just didn't know. Yeah, but definitely. Shoot, I'm thinking 5-page shorts now. It doesn't have to be one shot, a 5-page short. Just tell a story, finish it, let people love it or hate it.
Yeah.
The goal is for them to love it, but I think I'd rather have somebody love it or hate it than be like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Josh says, I don't know what I'm doing. Whole of my secret. You know what, man?
It's fair.
I feel like even if it's a bad plan, if you have a plan, you can at least say, well, I followed the plan. It didn't work. But
there is, though, the Mark Twain never knew how a novel was going to finish. Stephen King doesn't. He just starts. Mark Twain just starts. I'm not saying you should do that with a comic series, but a one shot. You've got a cool character. You know what you think you want he or she to do that day. Wing it, man. See what happens. Yeah. If you hate it, do draft 2. If you hate that, do draft 3. There's no, there's something to it.
Maybe not the way you want to approach a 25 maxi series, though.
No, you need. I've read too many books that the ending is, like, all right, so you have laughed with me about this. The Game of Thrones ending.
Yes.
What's the point of doing utter brilliance for 85% of your show and then finishing in a way that no one can recommend it? Know where you're going, get there and do it right.
You and I were together when I think they were on the final 3 episodes.
Definitely 1 or 2 had already been aired. I know 1 or 2 had been aired. I don't know if 3, but yes. Yeah. We were at Comixpalooza with a few episodes left in the final season.
Yeah. And that one was rough.
And you were wavering much, and I was, no, they're going to land this plane. They're gonna. You'll see.
The editor in me was like, I don't see it, man. I've watched this shit go down. I don't see it. Yeah, that was tough, man. So being a GOT fan, now they're talking about this other series. What are you thinking? Are you thinking that are you in? Are you gonna wait to see what they do first?
I don't care.
No?
I just don't care.
So
they should have given me a satisfying ending to the show I loved if they wanted me to eat another show.
I respect that. Yeah.
Will I watch it? Maybe, but I don't care.
Yeah. I've said the same thing.
Yeah, the reason that George R. Martin stopped writing the novels was to prep these other prequels. So he's already left me hanging. So, I understand. I'd rather And I write to just tell a story, but if someone told me that I could work 2 years and make $3 million or work 6 weeks and make $170 million, I'd probably work on the TV show too. I'm not going to pretend that I'm, a saint, but he's already told me he didn't give a shit about the thing that I cared about. So
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be great. Maybe I'll love it. I don't know, but I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like what Krusty the Clown said when he stopped doing stand-up. How'd they change your mind? A dump truck full of money. That's how they did it. It's really not a damn secret.
Burns' movie moved me to a different tax bracket.
Oh, that's so great. Oh, we have so many people who are in here. Oh, dude, you guys are all having a blast. So Brian has to go. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here, Brian. You always give great questions. Brian's a super fan. Absolutely amazing dude. Thank you for showing up. Please make sure to check out Tart. I think you're going to love it, buddy. Mike Jimmy loved the IT crowd as well. Good. See? You know what's going on. Plans do have a tendency to go to hell. But
right.
You know what, though? Wasn't it the Joker who basically said, if it's all part of the plan, then everyone can handle it? I mean, it's absolute paraphrasing. But he basically said it's that whole they won't blink little speech that he has, where he basically says, if you tell everyone that there's going to be some people who die and it's all part of the plan, they're going to be fine. But if you don't and one person dies, then all of a sudden it's this crazy thing.
Right.
So make it a plan, and then it'll seem like even the bad stuff makes sense.
Yeah.
I
see Jeff Weber. Hey, Jeff, how are you, buddy?
Omar loves the short story format. My peak stories are in the 10 to 12 page range. Wow. I mean, that's cool. Would you do that as like anthologies? I wonder.
Like four 12-page stories would be a wonderful anthology if they were in the same. You place them in the same city and kind of, one background character walks behind it and kind of just puts it together. So
there he is,
the scientist,
right? Oh, dude. Thomas Bishop bookmarked the Scout page. Thank you so much. Yeah, check that out. And like we said, check out Tart. There's absolutely amazing stuff going on. Yeah, who's gonna say no, Shawnee? First off, who's gonna say no to you? But also, how are we gonna say no? You literally, hun, you can drop any Kickstarter links.
Yeah, you can put Kickstarter links to people I don't like. You're Shawnee.
Yeah,
you get to do it.
Go to town. Yeah, you can drop as many as you want. I love that. I mean, this whole show is about indie support and showing off great works and talking about important stuff. So,
and there are this July is amazing. There is The House of Fear, my buddy James Powell. That's a kid's horror book that's out. Crossover Division by Will Allred. Bob Sally has a Starlight Tavern that just dropped today. The Catch by Stephen Bryant, which is like Watchmen if it was fun. And I love Watchmen, so don't take that as an insult, but it's more like Rocketeer.
It's not fun. Yeah.
It's not fun. It's like a Rocketeer feeling in a Watchmen world. Like there are so many good Kickstarters right now. I'm excited to be with this class, because it's not competition. It's all the rising tide raises all boats. It's really cool.
Yeah. And that's the fun thing, is that you have to create your own event, but it coincides with all these. It's like having a birthday party with a bunch of other people that you really like and respect. You're like, oh, cool. Oh, well, you know what? I have ponies at mine, but I don't have a bounce house. Let's go over to your place and I'll bring the ponies. We'll hit the bounce house. It'll be great. So, yeah, I think that's a good way of saying it. Josh is out. Cool, man. Feel free to hit me up. Absolutely, pick my brain. And like I said, do review Tart. It was very good for me. So I think you'll enjoy that an awful lot. What did Mike said? My life on Quora stories are all 32 pages in the same world. Gives the writers a ton of freedom, but also keeps it short and sweet. Yeah. Just have a plan. Yeah. Yeah, there are just so many amazing campaigns going on. You got the camp crossover happening right now, which is Big Dog Inc. and Totally Rad Comics. They're doing this like
Oh,
1980s style.
oh, what's the guy who you can get coffee? I backed one today, where you also get coffee with it. Get a pound of coffee if
I
you
don't
back the right thing.
know.
All right, I'll find it. I'll find it.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, dude, that sounds like so much fun. We were
Oh, it
thinking
was
about doing
cool.
hot sauce because of all the crazy challenges we did on our last one. I don't know if we can afford it, but yeah, that's a lot of fun. Holy crap. Um, but yeah, guys, so if you guys do have any other questions, no, Travis doesn't have a book out right now, so it's definitely not Travis. He just did his book not too long ago. Um, no, man, if you guys have any other questions, we are about to kind of run this one down. We
Okay,
have done
so
great.
Surrounded by Death by Johnny C.
Oh,
It's a comedic graphic novel about friendship and relationships while cohabitating in a rundown shopping mall during the zombie apocalypse. So you can get issue one. I got issue 1 and 2 catch up, and then I got a pound of ground coffee. He just has an in with people who make coffee, and I thought that was so brilliant. And they are $1,000 away from the goals. So with
oh,
29
good for
days
them.
to go, they're gonna kill it. But
Yeah. So
so
that I'm so glad you brought that one up because I'm good buddies with Chris Mad. He and I
okay,
talk all the time. We get along very well. He's an amazing cover artist. He actually did a cover for Blau. Is this it right here? This is the one right here. And just does absolutely amazing work. He did a George Perez inspired cover for that book.
okay.
And basically it's a bunch of zombies at Comic-Con. And they're all
Nice.
going after the main heroes, but they're all, of course, cosplaying and dressed up as different heroes and stuff. And it's not quite done. They're still working on it. But guys, if you do jump on that one, pick up the Chris Mad cover. You guys will not be disappointed at all. I've been able to see it as it's kind of coming together. It's gorgeous. It's so amazing. It's going to be so much fun. So you guys will absolutely love that. And of course, come for the coffee, stay for the comics. I think that's
Exactly.
kind of the way to
Exactly.
go. So, Kevin, thank you so much for coming out, man. I really appreciate you. Why don't you tell everyone where they can track you down and give us that final pitch so that we
Well,
can hit the stretch goals.
you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Kevin Joseph CMX. So that's comics, but I didn't have room to put it all in. And basically, my pitch is this: I love this comic. I love doing it, and I want to do it till we finish. And every single reader we get allows me to make the next issue. And for $25, you can read issues 1 through 7, find out if you love it, and you can go on with the Scout comics, or you can go to your comic shop tomorrow and don't support the Kickstarter. Go to your comic shop and say, I want the Tart trade paperback from Scout Comics. You can order it. You don't have to pay shipping, and you can read it all. You just have to wait a little bit longer to get the adventure. I don't care how you read Tart. Just please read it.
That's honestly, dude, that's beautiful. That's exactly the sentiment and the way that we should all be looking at it is, hey, man, as long as you're into it,
Mm-hmm.
it's all good. So, yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate your voice, your charm, and of course your stories. You've done absolutely amazing. So
Well, I love you, Chuck. I mean,
right back at you.
we survived an alpha storm together,
We
so
did.
that
We did.
changes people.
We did. And you know what? For some reason, I feel like it's not the last one.
I hope you're wrong, but you're probably not.
Right. Well, you never know, metaphorical storms and whatnot.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so Shawnee, thank you so much for showing up on. We really appreciate
Yeah.
you coming out. All of you, Thomas Bishop, Brian, Josh, everybody. Thank you guys, Omar, everybody. We really appreciate you. Take care. My name is Chuck. I give a fuck. Take care, everybody, and be safe.